Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Pages of Wine. Before we get started, let's pour some wine. Yes. For those of you who want to know what I'm drinking Sleight of Hand Cellars, the Spellbinder. It's a red blend. They are from the Walla Walla Valley of Washington, and I absolutely love their wines. They have so many cool, delicious blends. They have so many unique flavors in their all of their wines. One of the most unique things that they do is they make some 100% Syrah wines, and they grow them on what's called the rocks, this totally rocky section of their vineyards, and they have the most amazing flavors. So I highly recommend them. Check them out, Sleight of Hand Cellars. Today I have 2 really awesome books for you that I absolutely loved, and I want to try to keep these videos short and sweet, so I'm going to get right to the point. You will keep learning things about me as we move along in these videos. And one of the things you will learn is that I hate self-help books with a passion. I hate them. I don't care what they're about. Diets, hate them. Business, hate them. Hate them all. Hate them all. I may have told you sometimes, like if you assigned me a self-help book to read, like for my job, I bet you I didn't read it. I bet you I went on and got the Cliff Notes for it. But I had a friend, Amanda, who is a huge fan of this author. And I was fighting it because, again, I don't like self-help books. I don't. And so finally, this author had a Netflix special a couple years ago, and she watched it and she said, Ashley, please just watch it. And if you like it, you are probably going to like her books. If you don't like it, then I will never bug you about her again. So I watched it and I loved it. And then by some really crazy random story, some weird happenstance, the book ended up in my Amazon cart, and I checked out without realizing that it was in my Amazon cart until I got it in my box. And I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna read this. So my nonfiction choice is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. If you've never read any of her books before, this is the book that I think you should start with, and she does too. So that's another reason why I started with this book. And the best part about it is it's short. It's short and sweet. It's not a really long book. So if you don't like her or you don't really like it that much, you don't have to trudge through a big book. And also, because it's so little, it's relatively inexpensive. So again, if you don't like it, it's not a big deal. And I'm positive that you probably know a bunch of people who do like her or would like it. I think it would be easy for you to gift it to somebody. So what The Gifts of Imperfection is about is the title is, yes, it's true, but at the same time, it's about more than just that. Dr. Brené Brown is a shame researcher. That's what she's famous for. And so her book really focuses on shame and feeling shame, especially in how it's related to perfectionism. But ultimately what this book is it's trying to give the reader the tools to live a wholehearted life. And, it's about letting go of the shame. It's helping you get past and forgive the shame, the imperfections, all those kinds of things, so you can live your best life. It's a really great book. And one of the things that I like about it the most is, sometimes these books, you sit there and you read them and you're like, I don't even know how to take this on at the end, because they don't give you great tools. They don't actually give you any tools to use them. So at the end of each chapter, she has a little section called Dig Deep. And she has these 3 different prompts. Get deliberate, get inspired, get going. And they're basically there to help you put whatever she talked about in that chapter into practice and to use it. And so I know that I have my one measly little tab here. It's actually because I kind of realized too late. I was more than halfway through the book, And I was just like, there's so much good stuff in here. I need to start tabbing and, highlighting. And then I just was like, well, I'm just going to need to read it again. So this book, I read a lot of books, but I don't have a lot of books that stay on my bookshelf. I have a small number of books on my bookshelf, and most of them they're either Harry Potter or they're books because they look pretty. This book went on my bookshelf. So that's how much I really enjoyed it. The other book is called The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I read this one digitally. I borrowed it from my library. And one of the other things that you're going to find out about me is that I'm a big fantasy fan. I love fantasy and sci-fi, books, movies, TV shows, all the above. So you're going to learn that about me. I definitely am a fantasy fan, and this book falls truly into fantasy. I just want to say the author had a really popular book before this called The Night Circus. And when doing my research, I found that people who have read Night Circus did not like The Starless Sea as much. I intentionally didn't read Night Circus first because I hadn't read it yet and I had the option. I decided to go with The Starless Sea first, and I loved it. So if you've read The Night Circus first, or Night Circus, sorry, check your expectations. Don't expect the same kind of a book. I've noticed that people who read Starless Sea first really, really loved it. So that's the direction that I decided to go because I had a choice to do it. Night Circus is on my list, so don't worry, I'm going to be reading it soon. But basically what this story is about, when you're really a book nerd, you love stories about books. You love books about books. And that's what this truly is, what this fantastical story is about. It follows the main character, Zachary, and he gets entangled in this whole crazy world and realm that's focused around stories and books and time and fate. And he goes into this with two other characters, Dorian and Mirabelle. And I am just so impressed at how Erin can just use words to describe this totally unique and interesting realm that they move into. Essentially, what happens is Zach finds a book in a library, and each chapter is about a different story. And the different stories appear to not have anything in common, really. They seem to be totally unrelated. However, this book, what it looks at is how these three stories that don't seem to go together actually do go together. And one of the storylines in the book that Zachary found is actually his storyline. So he is trying to figure out what this world is, this world that according to fate, he was always supposed to be a part of it. So interesting and good and fun read. I couldn't put it down. So if you really want something different and interesting, and if you like fantasy, I just really think that you'll love this book. So to finish it up, my two book recommendations, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown and Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I highly recommend that you pick them both up. Before you're done, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. I would love to hear what you're reading or what you've read lately that you love. Let me know if you've read one of my recommendations, either from me or if you've read them before. I would love to know what you think. So with that, cheers.